So TCG with another OEDL player interview. This time we've got my good friend Godot joining me. Godot, thanks for coming on the show.
Sorry, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna start you off with some easy questions first. So first one, what do you think about OEDL's player draft format compared to like regular tournaments?
Um, I think it's pretty good. I think it's the only way to go about it in Oz to begin with, because if teams are just stacked, like if you just join a pre-made tournament like LPL, for example, I think there'll be a lot of players or other teams that aren't in the upper category of skill that is willing to join, right? So you want to join as individuals in this, and you get some new players and teams with more experienced players, and you can kind of, get them to improve alongside of the other players as well. And I think because of that, there's more incentive of like newcomers to actually keep playing Dota 2 instead of just being like, well, there's no chance for me to play because we're just going to get destroyed by the other teams who's already established. And this way there's actually more players coming in with the purpose of like trying to develop their skill as well as being competitive at the same time.
Okay, yeah. How do you like you think it's good for the scene kind of thing?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, no doubt.
But how do you feel about it as a player? Just as a
Um,
player compared to playing in a regular tournament with a regular team.
you mean like from my perspective or like a different person's perspective? Because like I think from each individual will be different.
Just
For example, for me personally, I'm not really learning too much playing
mm,
in the league because I'm the captain and I have to like teach everyone how like a team should work and um, what normally happens in competitive environments and what's the kind of mentality you have to have. Of course, like I don't think anyone on my team is like, I don't think in season three there's players that are just weak mechanically. Sure, there'll be some players that are weaker than others, but
mm.
like it's not really about the mechanics as much as like actually working as a team.
Okay,
But if
yeah.
you were to talk about like a perspective from Jandals, who I've kind of taken under my wing, he's very good mechanically, but it's for him to improve. It's not about like learning what he needs to do in terms of mechanics in general. It's more about like what he needs to do to help the team, either it be with the timings when he should be roaming around, what's the key openers where you can exploit your enemy's lineup, and from game to game it's going to change just because of the draft as well as the heroes being picked. So I think like from every different player there's going to be a different perspective of either it be because this player is really good mechanically but he still needs to develop in some areas that aren't so mechanically influenced, and then you have players like me where it's like I'm pretty experienced and I can actually help these other players get to that point easier because that way I can just tell them and they can learn from it, right? So I think from player to player, it's gonna have a different perspective on like what actually the league provides for them.
Okay, good answer. Good answer. I'm gonna give you 2 points for that one. It was a little
So,
long-winded, so
uh,
just two. Um,
what's the max? So how many
what's the
points can I
max?
get?
There was gonna be a max of three for that one, so I only got 2 out of 3.
Wow.
Next question.
And,
There's a new
yeah,
patch coming soon. What would you like to see get changed?
this one's gonna be a pretty. I'm not gonna get a point rating for this, I'm sure, because I said it on stream the other day as well. It's like I don't really care too much about the patch. Like, there's always gonna be like major changes, and people have to adapt according to like what the changes are. The only thing I would say that I would want is I want like heroes that are less popular to be more pickable now, so that we actually see a little bit more variety in terms of heroes being picked up and what the meta will shift into. But with that being said, there's no way I will be able to tell what hero Ice Frog has decided he likes for this upcoming patch. But I would definitely say that from my heroes, I would like to see Visage having a little bit of a buff, and maybe
Hmm.
Lone Druid as well, because I just have not been able to actually play Lone Druid in this current patch.
What about like
Um,
Sniper and Tinker? They're pretty underpicked.
nah, keep them in the
Keep them
dumpster.
in the dumpster. Okay.
Yeah, I think they've had their patches in the past. I don't, I don't want them back.
Okay.
Especially that patch with if you remember, like it was Sniper Lesh and I think it was Axe being picked every single game. Oh,
Axe and Troll. Yeah.
yes, that patch was pretty disgusting, I must say.
Okay. 1.5
Yeah.
points. Which team do you think will win OEDL?
My team, of course,
You think your team?
and yeah, my team. That's it.
Who do you think is the biggest challenger to your team? Like the biggest rival? If you don't win, who's going to win?
I mean, it has to be Yes Chef. And it's not even because of like mechanics or anything like that. They're just they're really well rounded and they really understand like what their timings are to exploit when it comes to their condition. And from my team's perspective, it's like we have a major weakness. I think I've mentioned in some other interview as well. And it's just like we seem to choke against teams that has like the bigger name players. Some of our newer players are a little bit more nervous, I guess.
Intimidated kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm not too sure because like the way I think about it is like when we play against any other team and when we even scrim against the bigger teams, like teams I won't mention names or team names, but like when we scrim, everyone's like pretty chill, calm, and aggressive at the same time, so they just perform how they would normally perform. But when we play in the official matches, we just get the nerves, and then they just don't do what they would normally do. And I think that's the only reason why, like in the few games we've lost in the last few weeks, I think that's the only reason why we've lost. Because it feels like when we play scrims against the same teams we lost, we play normal and we just win the games pretty easily as well.
Okay. Again, pretty long-winded answer. Just 1 point there.
Wow.
So you draft and you.
What's going on?
You draft and you call the shots for your team in game. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, if you just had a quick summary or like a small bit of advice to give to other aspiring drafters or team captains, what would you say? A couple sentences.
I think first of all you need to be confident, like with what you say, and it has to be like logical as well. You can't just like if you have an idea, even if it's like not meta, for example, but you have the idea and you have the theory behind it, you've done your reasoning behind it, and you just have to be confident about it. You just kind of like play a few scrims, try it out, figure out what's the problems if you do lose. Even if you do win, try to figure out ways of improving it. But the general idea is just make sure like the ideas you have to implement, either be drafting or leading, be confident about it, and pretty much test it out before going to like official games, I guess you could say.
So like confidence, logic, and just test it out. Okay, three points. That's a good one. Who's the most underrated OEDL/Oz player?
Poyo, in my opinion.
Underrated?
Yeah, like I would say with the players that I think are the newcomers of being the best in Oz, I have a few ideas, but that wasn't the question, right? But like for the underrated, I feel like he doesn't get enough credit. He's like a big part of our wins to begin with. He's improved so much. Like when we started playing in OEDL, like me and Poyo laning together, we would never win lanes. Now I think we barely ever lose lanes. So there's a drastic improvement when it comes to like just general game sense in terms of laning as well as mechanics. And he's extremely flexible. Like I pick him anything I want. I can go for like an Ember opener and just do a position 4 Ember, like a Yapsor style. I can do Void Spirits. I've done Seven Pause 4. Like I can pick anything I want, and I know he's going to be able to kind of execute. Whereas I don't see that from any other team. Like I don't think there's a single player in OVDL where they open up like a flex hero and they just, if they don't like it as a core, they just put it on a position 4 and make it work. In most cases, what I've seen in OVDL, it's like they have like the more newer players in the support roles, and in most cases, they just first pick their heroes and it's going to be like AA or Oracle, something like easy and that they can play. And they don't really care if they get counted because they spam that hero, right? But with Poyo, it's like, I can have his hero open up and people don't even know it's his hero because I'm just going to flex it at the end. And I think his general skill as well as game sense is really up there. And he's also been very vocal lately as well in game when it comes to his own kind of playings. Okay. So I definitely think he's the most underrated, at least support player in OEDL right now.
Okay. Well, we can't talk about how great Poyo is for an hour, so we're going to move on to the lightning round. This is, you get 10 seconds to answer the question, right? Or you get no points, so you got to answer it fast. No waffling. And you get 1 point each question. Are you ready?
Okay, what's it related about though?
Um,
Can I know, is it Dota related? Is it like random?
there's a bit of everything in there.
Okay, well, go on then.
Okay. Starting now. Best player in OEDL.
Jandals.
No points. Most OP hero in this meta.
Void Spirit.
Okay, 1 point. Best looking Oz Dota player.
It's gotta be me. Sorry, man.
Okay, 1 point. 1 point.
I
You
got a
can
point. Nice.
you can only play one role for the rest of your life. What role are you playing?
3.
Okay, interesting. What's the best power rune?
Arcane Rune.
Okay, yep. That's fair. Storm's pretty ember. How do you get your hair like that?
What? I don't know.
Okay, 0 points there. What's the worst neutral item?
Oh, where's the draw item?
And you got 10 seconds, remember?
The chipped vest.
Yeah, it's awful. Who's going to win next TI?
Some Chinese team, I'm sure.
Okay.
Maybe, IGLGD. IG or LGD.
Okay, describe yourself in 3 words.
Mature, old. I don't know. Consistent.
Mature, old, and consistent. Okay.
Yeah.
Describe...
I don't know, man. 10 seconds, alright? I don't know.
Just 2 that mean old.
Yeah, they're both the same, but whatever.
Describe me in 3 words.
Social, funny.
You need one more word.
Oh, I thought you said 2 words. Okay, another word. Well, you said you were getting fatter now, but I would say skinny because of how I knew before.
Okay, fair. Social, funny, and skinny. Are you taller than Farnsworth?
I don't know how tall he is.
He's about like 5'6".
Then I don't know. How would I know? Unless I've met him in person. I know
Okay.
his exact measurement.
No points there. Remove techies from Dota, yes or no?
No, definitely no.
Fair enough. I like it. I like it. All right, Godot. Thanks for coming to this interview. I'm just gonna tally up your points. You got 2, 4.5, 5.5, 6.5, 9.5, 10.5, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17.5 points.
Out of what?
Out of just question mark. There's no point limit. But I'm gonna say you did slightly below average. Thanks so much for your time, man.
What? Slightly below average?
Slightly below average.
Dude, come on, give me like something that I can work with.
Okay, I'll just give you.
A point, man.
I'll give you plus 5 points for begging. So that's 23.5 points. More than Reverie got. Well played. Before I let you go, do you have anything to say for like your fans out there or fans of GG No Re?
I mean, just stay tuned with GGNR. I think there's going to be some things coming up for perhaps in a few months' time, but something more serious with the GGNR squad. Either it be with the OEDL stack continue for next season, or even just a general new team coming up. That's pretty much about it. So just follow the socials, which is Team GGNR on both Twitter as well as Facebook.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much, man. Have a good night.
You too, man.